Hey guys, Declan here. Welcome back to the Road to Dublin Marathon, a weekly vlog series by myself, Coach Declan, where we discuss my training over the last, 12, 13 weeks on how I've been doing on my training. I started this journey 13 weeks ago, not really in brilliant fitness. But we've seen a lot of improvements over the last 13 weeks. If you haven't watched any of the previous episodes, I'll link the playlist here so you can get watching those. So week 13 out of the 16-week training block, the last big week of miles, last week of intensity. Not really intensity. Last week of big miles, sorry, I should say. The intensity remains the same throughout my taper, and I'll come back and talk about that in a wee bit more detail. But this was the last 20-mile run. As I mentioned a couple of episodes back, or 3 or 4 episodes back, I'm trying something a wee bit different this training block myself personally, where previous marathon training blocks I've done the gradual rise up and did maybe 2 20-mile training runs and then just dropped back down. This training block ramped up quite quickly, got to the 20-mile, and over the last 6 weeks, I've done 5 separate 20-mile runs. Some of those a wee bit more than 20 miles. But how did this week go? Let's give a summary of this week. As you're aware, last week episode ended with me saying about I ran a marathon. I ran a marathon at 3:32 pace. Also got an email through from the race organisers overnight there to say that it was first in my age category, which was quite good. Really good to sort of show that there's progress being made and I'm getting rewarded for my things. I met with that race organiser today and got my reward too, so it's always nice that. But because of that there, I always take Monday off, this year. Monday's my rest day. But Tuesday I was still feeling really tired. I just didn't have it in me to go out and train, so I took an extra day's rest. Spent most of the time working, to be honest, but any free time that I had, I ended up doing some recovery stretches and just a bit of self-massage, getting everything going, a lot of mobility work, finally getting everything sort of freed up again. So although I wasn't feeling overly sore, I was just feeling a little bit flat, just not feeling the pep that I should feel or expect to feel. But to be honest, then, I have been sort of 13 weeks into marathon training as well. So it was Wednesday before I managed to get out for my first run. And I didn't even get out. I went onto the treadmill, just with the timing of everything. I had a bit of extra free time and work just over my lunch hour. So I just spent 60 minutes running on the treadmill. Nice, easy, controlled, got the legs spinning again. No issues with that there. I think I covered just over 10k. So shows you how easy and controlled that was for me. Then on Thursday was the first proper session of the week. So it was quite a hard session, and it was a chance to try the Alpha Flies. I haven't really worn them that much for any runs. I have wore the Vapor Flies for one of the runs earlier. I'm really impressed with the Vapor Flies. Really think they're probably the best shoe that I've raced in. I wore the 4% for the half marathon, the Vapor Flies for the recent marathon, and the Alpha Flies for the session here, just to sort of see what they felt like. And I don't think I like them. I do like them. I think they're a fast shoe, but I think there's just the stack height's just a little bit too high for me. It just makes me feel a little bit wallowy, if that's a word, whenever I'm going round corners. And I think whenever I'm doing the marathon, I would prefer to feel more in control rather than the shoe dictating things for me with regards to that. So that was the Alpha Flies, but I haven't even talked about the session yet. So the session was tempo into intervals, 3 miles tempo, 3 minutes jog recovery, and then 6x800 intervals at 5k pace. So a really tough session this year. I've alluded to this one of the previous episodes. One of my favorite sessions to see where fitness is. You're doing your tempo run, you're doing 3 miles, I'd end up doing these 3 at about 7:05 pace, I think it worked out on average, going into headwind, going sort of mostly uphill for the first half of that there as well before it leveled off. So the shoes felt good. They do feel light, they feel bouncy, they feel fast, but I say whenever I'm turning any corners, I just don't feel safe in them. 3 minutes jog recovery, and then I did 6 by 800 meters at 5k pace. So for me, that there's currently about 6:35, 6:40, and all the reps were done at under 6:40 pace. So really, really good. And they were done off 90-second recovery. Like I say, really good. It's really good for me. It's not really good for other people, but it's really good for me. So I was happy with that session. It went well. Probably could have pushed the tempo a bit faster, but I say just didn't feel confident in the shoes to be turning corners around the sort of roads that I was running on. So that was session 2 of the week. Session 3 of the week, 4 miles easy. What more can you say about that there? I had 40 minutes free. I went out and ran 4 miles. It took me about 36 minutes. There was uneventful with regards to that there. There was nothing more on. Which brings me on to Saturday's run. So usually I save my long run for this Sunday. But I had a free day on Saturday. It's not often I have one of those in terms of having the time and the ability to go out for a run. So didn't have work. The wife was at home with the kids. So I had an afternoon to go out and get the long run done. And toyed with a couple of different ideas of what I was going to do. I was going to do like a point-to-point run, the 20 miles route that I've done before. I was going to do a couple of big loops around Macrofelt. But I thought I fancied something a little bit different. And one of my favourite places to run is Garva Forest. It's a really, really nice place just outside Macrofelt. I'll say just outside. It's about 12, 15 miles away. But it's a forest, it's all contained. The trails are fairly solid, you know, there's no muck, there's not that many leaves. But I forgot how hilly it was. So the big loop, the purple loop of Garva Forest is about 4.2 miles, approximately 4.25 miles long. And I don't know why I sort of thought it was flatter than it is, because I've ran there quite a lot in the past. But it sort of surprised me again how hilly it was. And the first sort of 1.5 to 2 miles, you're generally climbing up, and then you've got a sort of undulating, rolling downhill to get to the finish. And as I was coming through the first lap, finishing up the first lap, I was done. I just didn't want to run anymore, and I was ready for quitting. But the plan had either, you know, the 20-mile long run, or I had an 8-mile run to do. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just get another lap done. At least that'll get the 8-mile run done, and I can then do the long run on Sunday. Maybe plan a different route. But I came around the second loop, and I thought, you know, look, I'm here anyway. I've got the free afternoon. The weather's quite favourable. Let's just get another lap done. You know, so I ended up doing, you know, 4 of the purple loops, and then 1 of the orange loops. And the orange loop's about 5k long, and it's ridiculously hilly too. It's climbing for 1.5 miles and then rolling downhill for that. But you know, mentally that was a tough run. Physically, I actually felt okay by the end of it. The legs felt okay, the body felt okay. Just mentally, I think I'm at the point of the marathon training block where, you know, you just reach that mental fatigue, you know, when you're just getting it done. A little bit of the enjoyment was taken out of that one there. There probably is the rollover fatigue coming through as well from the previous weeks, you know, 2 marathons, then a 20-mile run. But I got it done. I built up those layers and layers and layers upon fitness. I think the overall elevation for that there was about 16, maybe 1,700 feet of elevation. So that's quite a lot, but it should put me in good stead for Dublin, because I know Dublin's about 650 feet or around that there of elevation. So if I can cover 20 miles with ease that there, I should be okay. Should be fairly happy with that. I think the average pace worked out about 8:50s. I sort of started about 8:40 pace and finished coming through at about 9-minute mile pace. So the averages was about 8:50. 50. But I wasn't overly concerned about the pace on that there. It was more about the effort and keeping it just nice, steady, simple, easy pace, more in control than anything else. Didn't take any sort of gels or salt tablets or any sort of fuel at all. Just had a small bottle of water with me for that one too. So it was just about getting miles in the bank. And that leads me on then to Sunday, and this is when the body did sort of fight back. It just, no, Declan, you don't want to run today. And I didn't. I just knew at this stage that an 8 mile run on how tired the legs were was going to be risking, an injury, even if it was easy paced. So I ended up doing tail walker duties at Junior Park on 1.2 miles. Loved every step of it, encouraging the kids along the way. But I think that's run 3 of the whole block missed. And it's an 8 mile easy run. Nothing that's going to add anything to the plan. So that's us now on to the taper. So I think I've maybe done a video on tapering before, but I'll probably finish up with maybe 5 or 6 minutes talking about it here. See if you haven't to go look for it. So what is a taper? Why do we taper? What's the science behind tapering? It's a relatively new thing when it comes to running. I think it was only sort of brought about the sort of 50s, 60s. There was a runner who turned up to an event, tapered, rested, and outperformed everybody else on it. And this has now become the norm for us. And it's about hitting the start line in peak condition. As good as condition as you absolutely can. For a marathon, you're looking at 2 to 3 week taper, depending on your fitness levels. Most people take a 3 week. I'm taking a 3 week myself, but the taper, this week, you can look at the plan and sort of think, is that really a taper? I'm going to be dropping my long run down from 20 miles, which was the max, down to either 16 or 18. Just depends on how the body feels. I'll not beat myself up if I don't hit 18, but aiming for at least 16. So at 75%, the 18 would be closer to sort of the 80% mark. So that's where I'm looking to bring my run down to, 75 to 80% of my long run. I think my maths is wrong there, but I think you get the point with that. So the other runs throughout the week, they'll be brought down ever so slightly as well, but the intensity is going to remain the same. We're going to still continue doing tempos. I think my last tempo will be next week, about 13 days out. It'll be a long-ish tempo, probably 8 to 10 miles at that marathon goal pace, and then I'll maybe do a little bit of fartlek work a little bit the following week as well. But this week coming, or the week that I'm in now, week 14 of the block, we'll still see fairly high miles, but a reduction. So instead of peaking out at sort of 50 to 52 miles, I think I've maxed, we should see this dropping down to about 39-ish, thereabouts. So about that 80% mark is where we're looking for. Then I'm also going to try and get as much rest as I can, as much sleep as I can, really cleaning up the diet, taking on the hydration, everything that's good for you, putting good stuff in to get good things out of it again as well. Okay. So for me, what does it? Intensity stays the same, and the miles come down slightly. So you're looking to go down to about 75% of your max in the third week, then about 50%, then down to about probably 40% in the week of the marathon itself as well. So look, I think that's really it. There's not much really to talk about this week. It has been quite uneventful. 4 sessions instead of 5. Nice decent long run, 1 decent session, couple of easy runs. It's the bread and butter stuff of marathon training, isn't it? Feeling good, feeling confident, feeling fit, feeling healthy. Let's just hope that the next 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, the things remain the same for me. Guys, thank you very much for watching as always. If you've made it this far, I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the likes, comments, and messages that you've all sent me. I know there's a lot of people watching this here who are doing Dublin too. Good luck to yourselves. I wish you all the very best. I hope your training has went as good as you can hope it can, and that you're hitting the start line in as good as condition as possible. And if you do see me out in course, or at the start line or at the finish line, then come say hello, and we can get a wee quick chat. All right, guys, have a great week. Chat to you all again soon. Bye bye.